about Andy and Brittany in the season finale, and I also want to talk about a few things that the wife shared with me after she saw the season finale for herself. So we find out that Brittany ended up packing her bags after she got that $500 from Andy, and she admits that she ended up relapsing, which that didn't shock me at all. Even Ray Charles could have seen that coming. So according to the wife, she said that Andy told her that when Brittany left for a few months, she ended up going back to one of her ex-boyfriends. That's who she allegedly used to buy drugs from in the past. So she went back to him, and then he got sick and tired of her, and then she went running back to Andy. So Brittany was telling the producers on the show that she was living with family, but according to the ex-wife, Andy told her that Brittany was living with her ex-boyfriend. So this is her ex that she was with for a while after she left Andy for a minute. And while she was gone, Andy said he had been in contact with Brittany. But Brittany just recently reached out at the time of where they're at on the show because she went off and relapsed for 2 weeks. And she said she just stayed to herself because she didn't want to talk to anybody or have anybody see her like that. So after those 2 weeks, she decided to reach out to Andy when she was broke again. She admitted that she quit using because she ran out of money. So pretty much just sounds like she's only sober right now, not by choice, but because she's broke. And that's why I say time and time again, it is not safe to give someone who has like a drug history that much money as soon as they get out of prison, because money can be the biggest trigger. Brittany said that she just went and took a drug test so she can try to get custody of her kids. But that's how I know she's seen Andy since she left, because the wife told me that Andy even admitted to her that he ended up paying for Brittany so she was able to pass that drug test so she could see her kids again. If that's not enabling, then I don't know what is. So then Andy went fishing with his kids, and he was telling his kids about what happened with him and Brittany, and his kids were like, "Dad, we told you so." And Andy was like, "Yeah, but I thought I knew her better." And meanwhile, they cut to Brittany, and she's meeting up with one of her friends that she said she used to use with, and then they were in prison together, and now she claims now they're sober together. So Gracie is going off to college, so Brittany is shopping for a care package for her at this like Bath and Body store, and her friend are talking, and Brittany tells her friend, "Yeah, Andy's wife ended up texting me." And if you guys have been keeping up with my videos, then you guys have already seen these messages weeks ago. And so him and the wife were messaging each other after Brittany ended up leaving for a while, was with her ex, and they were hanging out with each other and talking about how much they loved each other. And then the wife ended up sending these messages to Brittany, and Brittany had no idea that Andy was still married until she heard from the wife. So then they cut to Andy, and he's still out fishing with his kids, and he starts telling his 2 kids about the fact that his second wife was texting Brittany and telling Brittany that they were hanging out and they were talking. So the kids asked him, "Well, have you seen her recently, your wife?" And he's like, "Oh no, we live hours away from each other. I ain't seen her in a long, long time." And that is all cap, because Andy was literally with his wife days before that, and they're at the beach taking pictures together. And when she texts Brittany all those messages, she was at the beach with Andy at that time. So he had literally just been with her days prior. And then of course I reached out to the wife and I was like, "What did you think of the season finale?" And she's like, "Oh, I got some things to tell you." So she informed me that Andy, that day he was fishing with his kids, claiming he hadn't seen his wife in a long time, he had literally just left her house, and he went to her house after he was done filming. Here's Andy after he left her house and went to film this fishing scene. He said, "We just made it out to paradise. I did a great interview in the car. Let it loose by God. Allie handed me her phone while they were putting the mic on, and I took these 2 pictures." And he's like, "I'm annoyed already." She said, "You don't say." And these messages are from September 3rd. And then he sends a picture with his son Barry, and then he says, "Go ahead and leave the door unlocked," because he was heading back to her house as soon as he was done filming. So if he can just lie straight to his kids' faces like that, then he'll lie to anybody. And the kids were looking at Andy the whole time when he was trying to pretend he wasn't talking to his wife. They're just like, sure, Dad. And the ex-wife said that the kids knew about her. She said that he left my house to go to the filming. They knew he had been seeing me, talking about Andy's kids. She said that he would call them every time he was at my house, and he was spending every single day at her house when he wasn't filming. Then she told me that his kids for sure knew that he was staying with her that weekend because him and Barry went to a Gators game the night before, and he was on the phone with her while he was at the game, and he told me to leave the door unlocked because he would be late getting there. And Barry's right next to him overhearing the phone conversation, and he said that Barry and Andy's daughter that he went fishing with in this episode, they had both been to her house to see them both recently right before they filmed that episode while they're both there. So they were just, I think, probably told to do that by the producers, but the kids clearly knew that Andy had been hanging out and talking to the wife. The wife also said they talked to me on FaceTime too while he was there, and that's why they both looked like they did while he was lying on camera. So Andy was literally messaging his wife Mindy during filming after he just told the cameraman they hadn't talked. And the daughter said that she was actually bummed that Andy and his second wife didn't end up working out because she thought that they were made for each other. But no, he had to go sit there and reach out to a prisoner and start writing her and sign up for the show, and ended up leaving his wife for this train wreck that he's got going on now. So one of the producers ended up confronting Andy about lying about the fact that he was still married, because he was trying to say on the show that he had been divorced for a while now. Him and his ex-wife hadn't talked in a long time. And he said, well, I wasn't really lying. I just didn't bring it up, which that's called lying by omission. And Andy was just like, well, I don't think Brittany shared every little detail with me, so I don't think I need to share every little detail, but I think that's a pretty big detail. Then Andy had the audacity to say, yeah, I'm still married to my second wife, but we haven't been together in a long time. Dude, you literally just came from her house. And even before you guys started talking again, when Brittany ran off on you, he was with the wife while he was writing Brittany. So I'm tired of Andy trying to act like he's the victim and trying to make Brittany look like she's the only bad guy in this situation when they both suck. They both seem like master manipulators, and honestly, they kind of deserve each other. And I'm so glad that the second wife and that other girl he was talking to while he was married, because as we talked about in past videos, Andy has a history of claiming that he's not married when he really is. So I'm glad they both reached out to me, because otherwise I feel like I would have been defending Andy this whole season, because I was definitely defending him and felt bad for him at first. But now, honestly, after what he did to his wife, it seems like Brittany's his karma. So Brittany ended up grabbing a few bars of soap while she was shopping with her friend, and she goes to check out, and her friend was like, well, do you got money for all this? And Brittany's like, well, I got a little bit. My mom gave me some money, but honestly, I need some of my bread from Andy. And she's claiming that Andy said that he has a Brittany fund, and he promised that he's going to take care of her no matter what, whether they're together or not. And when I heard that, I knew this girl had to be smoking crack, because a Brittany fund, even if she isn't with a man, it's the audacity for me. Like, who does that though? Who hits up their exes and demands that they donate to their Brittany fund? I don't know. Like, if I did that to one of my exes, I would have been blocked with a quickness. And that's what Andy claimed he did when Brittany requested the money, because he was fishing with his kids still when she requested $200 from him, and he tells his kids about it, and his kids were like, well, are you gonna send the money? And he's like, no, of course not. And you know what? I'm gonna block the girl, and I'm gonna delete the number. But that obviously didn't last long, because later on, while Brittany was in a confessional, she started heckling like a damn hyena And the producers were like, girl, what's wrong with you? And she's like, he sent the money. He sent the $200. And she was literally clowning on the man. And she showed the receipts where he had just sent her $200. Like, what is wrong with this dude? Seriously. Like, how desperate do you have to be that you're still sending this girl money? Even after the last 2 times you sent her money, she immediately dipped out and spent it all on drugs. And I asked the ex why she thought he was doing this. And she said that Andy is a narcissist and he has to be in full control and he will stop at anything to get it. And that's why she feels like he ended up proposing to Brittany, because he wants full control of her and it's harder for her to get up and leave if she marries him. Then Andy's second wife also revealed that this episode was filmed in September, and she knows for a fact because she has the text messages, that I showed you guys earlier, where he says, I'm on my way, when he filmed the fishing scene. That was filmed on September 3rd. And when you look at this receipt right here, when Andy sent her money for the Brittany fund, it was sent in October, on October 10th, and that's when they were back together. So I'm so glad that the ex-wife ended up pointing that out. So Brittany and Andy ended up getting back together towards the end of September. So they had already been back together for a few weeks when Andy sent her the money. And now knowing that, it makes sense, because if you go back and see when he sent her the money, that happened during her confessional. And usually when they come back and do the confessionals, that's after they're done filming. So at the time when they stopped filming, he wasn't messing with her at the time. She was with her ex-boyfriend at the time. And then when she came back and did her confessionals, her and Andy had already been back together, and they're just trying to slice it up and trying to make it look like it happened before it really did. You know how we TV be playing games. But damn, did you see how excited that girl got when she got that $200 sent to her? Man, she's like, man, I'm about to get high as hell. She got really excited. I haven't seen Brittany that happy all season long. The only few times we've seen Brittany happy this season is when she got money from Andy, when he gave it to her at the hotel room, the first $500, then he gave her the second $500, and then when he gave her the last $200, and then when she leaves Andy. That's the only time we see her happy. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check out my lashes and cosmetics at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.